You know what? I love classic anime. Not because of the old school animation, but just the nostalgia feel it always gives me. And one of them, I remember this one gunslinger who wears this big red trench coat and circular lens shades that I can recall watching back in the 90s when it first came out. But no, we're not talking about that one though. We're talking about a very, very different one. So let's start the show. What's up ladies, gentlemen, everything in between and on the outskirts. Welcome to Khazara Anime, where I'll attempt to give my thoughts and review a type of manner on anime that either I've been watching or recommended by people for me to take a look at. Today we're going to be looking at Hellsing, an anime adaptation of the manga created by Koto Hirano, who is responsible for the other anime Drifters. And that anime is something that I recommend anybody over the age of 18 and older to go ahead and take a look at. It's pretty badass. Hellsing was picked up by Gonzo to handle the animation as a 12-episode series that would run here in the West from the beginning to the end of 2003, with the original anime being broadcast in the East 2 years prior. The direction of this Hellsing anime was handled by Yoshinori Arata and the late great Yumanosuke Ida, who has had a hand in co-directing heavy hitters like Hayao Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky, Big O, and the little title known as Cowboy Bebop. The script of Hellsing was handled by Chiaki J. Konaka, who has written scripts and helped out tremendously in animes that I'll consider legendary, such as Serious Experiments Lain, Technolize, and Vampire Princess Miyu. So it's safe to say that this anime at the time had some incredible people behind it. But then the question is, what exactly is Hellsing all about? To put it simply, Hellsing is about vampires, but to be more accurate, it's about Hellsing's organization whose sole purpose is to exterminate them. Under the employment of the Queen of London, leading this establishment is the strong and tenacious woman who goes by the name of Sir Integra Fairbrooke Wingate's Hellsing. And man, that's a mouthful to say. But anyway, the convention's dedication to her family's last name and legacy makes her admirable as much as dangerous to have as an enemy. She controls an army, a butler by the name of Walter C. Dornez, who has somewhat of a history himself, but the main man of the series is the physical embodiment of chaos. He is also known as the greatest achievement of the Hellsing lineage, the overpowered badass himself, Alucard. If you played Castlevania or delved into vampire lore before, the name Alucard is a riddle, or how he would put it, an anagram of itself. But within the series, it drops a huge hint, which without a doubt points to his true identity being nobody other than Yaha Bach from Bleach. I'm just playing. Alucard loves impaling too much, but specifically with his choice of weapons, which are these two big ass guns whose barrel is probably the length of somebody's forearm, with the bullets being melted down from the silver crosses of Manchester's Catholic Cathedral. This guy, to put it mildly, is overpowered, but the enjoyment comes from seeing him do his thing, even though the viewer probably already knows what the end result will be. You see, when it comes to Alucard, the world is his and we just existing in it. The only creature probably on God's green earth that this force of nature asks permission for anything from is Sir Integra. Given the last name being Hellsing, I guess it's safe to say that something was worked out between him and the Hellsing family. According to the lore, it was orchestrated by Van Helsing, which Sir Integra is a descendant of. It's not because of some blood pact or ritual as one would think of when it comes to vampires, but it's seemingly from some high level of respect and weird case of admiration sometimes. The last of the main cast comes in the form of this police girl who goes by the name of Cirrus Victoria that just so happens to unfortunately become a victim of circumstances when she's caught in quite the predicament. Because of this certain situation, she forms a bond with Alucard and is the new recruit of the Hellsing organization. She serves as kind of the main character when it comes to the Hellsing series, but she is the character in which the audience can get a grasp on the world and how it operates. Every other character other than these few are not that important, or probably just an enemy of the Hellsing organization that has to be dealt with. But instead of conflicts being one-sided, considering whose side this broken character is on, I like how even though he is powerful, who he holds dear isn't, and it's this weakness that is exploited in some cases when it comes to the enemies. There is one person that I couldn't wait to step onto the screen, and his name is Alexander Anderson. He isn't a villain, but more so like a rival to Alucard, and whenever the two meet, just know some action is about to go down. Mr. Anderson serves as an example that not all organizations that destroy vampires and monsters like each other, even though their mission is damn near identical. The English dub voice actor that plays Alucard is none other than the legendary Crispin Freeman, and I can say with full confidence that nobody else could have done the job better. I can tell that he was having a whole lot of fun with this role, but then again, who wouldn't when you're in the immortal badass prancing around without a fear of death, toying with people. Anderson is voiced by Stephen Brand, who gives the stereotypical Scottish performance. Sis Victoria is voiced by Catherine Teen Gray. Sir Integra was voiced by Victoria Haywood, and Walter was voiced by Ralph Lister. They all do an awesome job bringing life to these characters. But let's talk about the visuals. This anime by today's standards would be considered, well, old. I mean that in the classic sense. Everything from the animation to every frame was hand-drawn. Watching Hellsing within its original form, I noticed that there would be many scenes where there would be just still frames with dialogue being voiced. I know this technique is one hell of a way to save money, let alone work for the animators, but it comes with the cost of quality sometimes to the overall viewing experience. But when things decide to kick up, please understand this one mere fact. Hellsing is not for the boys and girls. This show is violent with a lot of decapitation, swear words, and other unsavory acts for your eyes to feast on. So let's talk about the music. If anything, Hellsing's music is just superb. It fits and sets the atmosphere as to what this show is going for. I will always enjoy the opening song coming with this jazz and alternative rock fusion. The name of the intro is called Logos Hockey World, but in other words is known as a world without logos. It's dark, but it also makes it perfectly clear that this isn't necessarily your rainbows and sunshine type of ride. This song is performed by the person who did all the music for this series. His name is Yasuo Ishii. He's done work for Drifters, Darker Than Black, and went back to do Hellsing Ultimate. I believe part 1 is called Raid and the other one is called Ruin. I cannot say just how amazing this original soundtrack is. Live instrumentation coming from a lot of bass and electric guitars and piano keys, and then just how it's presented makes the listener feel like it's coming from somebody's garage. I don't know about you, but I personally love that aesthetic. But then there was this one track that I remember that sounds so jolly and out of place. The name of it was called From 666 to 777. It sounds like something from a children's PBS show, but when I saw the episode where the song played, it became very disturbing quickly within proper context. This is what I mean when I say that the 90s anime had this certain unconventional raw vibe to them. No offense to the bubbly electronic or trendy dubstep and etc. of the modern day music one would stereotypically find within an anime nowadays, but just go back and check out some of the soundtracks from the animes that came out in the 90s. That's all I'm saying. I'll have links within the description where you can go and check out Hellsing's OST. But as far as the overall experience, did I like this anime? Yes and no. I do like watching stylish violence from time to time in my anime, and on that note, Hellsing delivered. As far as the story goes, there really isn't one that's here, with the exception of figuring out what these microchips are. These chips serves as a MacGuffin of a plot device that sounds like it's pulled out of someone's behind. Although not creative in my opinion, it adds a layer of making the challenges more complex for the Hellsing organization. Killing vampires and ghouls is one thing, but killing humans under an influence? Things can get very sticky quickly. It's something similar to what was explored within that Blade 3 movie. I'm not saying that this anime is enjoyable or gets you in your feels, but don't scroll into this series in hopes of finding some major character development of any kind, nor a message other than the simple fact that one should not ever mess with the Hellsing organization, let alone a la carte. How this anime ended to me was one of the major things I didn't like about watching it. The final baddie shows up out of nowhere, and the ending is so abrupt with details of tying up loose ends is resorted to just quick text screens. In other words, it's told to you but not shown. The unfortunate story behind this is that while making the episodes, the original manga material was still going on, so it's no wonder that the story in this anime and the manga went into two different directions. But the issue was somewhat resolved within the OVA movies of Hellsing Ultimate, which in a lot of ways is the superior way to experience Hellsing. To put it more simply for the anime lovers, this Hellsing is like the Full Metal Alchemist, as Hellsing Ultimate is like the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I would recommend checking out this Hellsing series before looking into watching Hellsing Ultimate to not only see the difference, but rather Hellsing Ultimate kind of expects you to know about these things. It only helps. Well, until next time, peace.